days. I don't know what day. I'm a little off here. Let's see. Because today is day 6. That means maybe I didn't record for 4 and 5. I, well, the cycle started, so I have not been doing that much. I didn't have any caffeine for day 5 and day 6 today. I don't think I'm gonna have any caffeine either. I also didn't have any melatonin left going to sleep Monday night, so Tuesday was just a waste. Like, I was up till probably like 7 something. Like, people were getting groceries delivered in the house at like 4 a.m. and at like 5 a.m. And they didn't go to sleep or go back to their room till like 11 p.m. So there was like a little time between 11 and like 4. But then they got up around 1:30 and like around 3, and then around 4 and then 5, and then I was still up because I was kind of dozing in and out of sleep. Basically, it was one of the worst nights of sleep I've had in like years, probably. Then lo and behold, there was construction too, around 5 in the morning. I went to sleep around probably like 7:30 in the morning or 7 something in the morning. Slept until like 9 a.m. or so. Then decided, since everyone else is still asleep, let me just get up and make my meals, because I was not in a good mood. I was super moody, but I was like forcing myself not to be as moody. I was like, let me just try to just force myself, because this isn't like a normal thing. It's not like people are normally up like that or purposely doing it, but still, I was very grumpy and very irritated, and I was kind of like in my head, like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm gonna just order food so I don't have to cook in the kitchen, so I can just get my food, take it to my room, be away from everyone. I don't want to talk to anybody like all day long. But I got through that part of the morning, I think, and then I was able to kind of calm down. I mean, eating helps, having meals and stuff helps, and then I didn't have a caffeine crash because I didn't have any caffeine. We're not too far from the beach, and it was like hot. Like, it got up to like, it said it was going to be 84 high, but it got up to like 88 or something. So there were some hours in the day where I was just like not pleased, and then the neighbors, I had fallen asleep around noon or so or whatever, and with earplugs in, and I was like, oh good, maybe I missed the neighbors, gardeners who mow the lawns and everything. So I was like, cool, at least I'll just have the afternoon to relax. Lo and behold, they show up around 1 p.m. and they're mowing around and chopping around till like 2 something. Just a very unrestful day, on a day where I just couldn't do anything anyways, and it was just hot and uncomfortable, and I just was like over it, to be honest. I was like, I got a lot of job applications in and studied a little bit, but I was kind of just drifting in and out of sleep most of the day, and it was hot and I was tired, and all the noise levels and everything. My melatonin came in last night, so I had a little bit. I had like 1.5 milligrams, because I was like, I don't want to fully knock out. And I'm trying this like hemp seed oil that I don't really think is effective, but I was like, that's cheap. I've tried some before that was helpful, and then others don't help. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of getting stuff off Amazon, because it's not what I want really, but it's also not a dispensary, and getting like delivery of like actual CBD or CBN or whatever types of actual choices of cannabis products. Those cost a lot. Like, and I was like, I don't want to spend $40 to $60, and I don't have cash on me. And I don't want to wait like 2 hours. Like, they're always late, and like they say it'll take like 30 to 45 minutes, up to 60 minutes, up to 2 hours, and you're just like, it was just another thing where I was like, I don't really like using those services because they take so dang long out here. Like, San Diego was actually pretty easy, and it was like within 30 minutes, but out here it's like it can be up to 2 hours, and it's like, dude, I got, you know, sometimes I've got other stuff to do. Plus, you gotta tip them, and then they charge you extra fees, and it's like, it's outrageous. Like, it's already expensive when you go into a store and you buy something for $13, and then you after all the taxes and all that, it comes out to be almost $20. So you can imagine, you know, that's gonna be almost double. And then they have a minimum sometimes where it's like you have to order at least like 25, or like the lowest I've seen is 25 or $35. The most is usually like $45, like $40 minimum, and then there's a fee on top of that if you're using card, and then you gotta tip them. So it's just a stupid thing. I mean, it's an option, but I was like, for the same thing I can buy for $13, it's gonna come out to $20. Do I really want to spend like $60? You know? So I was like, I'll just, for the financial aspect of it, I was like, let me just not. But yeah, took the iron, just having like an Advil in the mornings. Like, that's my motivation to get the breakfast in me. I'm eating pretty light, or yeah, fairly light. I had a couple granola bars yesterday, and then I made my lunch for today. I couldn't find the turkey lunch meat, so I used turkey bacon, just an egg and turkey bacon with some sprouts and light Miracle Whip and mustard on a Dave's Killer Bread hamburger bun, toasted. So that's gonna be my lunch. It's already here in my room in a baggie, and then I've got celery and carrots in another baggie, and it's ant season for us because of the heat. So I kind of keep things like in the bags, and like, you know, make sure that there's nothing like around that can make the ants want to come and invite their friends and have a whole party. I was making a joke the other day that the lines of ants are my support animals. Like, don't kill them, it's my support animal. I usually leave them though, if they're not like like literally in my way, and they're just like passively in some area of the house where it's like, you know, they're not really like interfering. Like, there's a line of ants in the garage that's been there for absolute ages. I sprayed it with like Clorox, and then they just formed another line. I sprayed it when it became like a double line. I was like, okay, now they're like building like a two-way highway. Like, this is too much. But they came right back. I don't know what they're going to eat though. They're attracted to something that's underneath the washer, and you know, it's been happening like that for like months, probably since like January or something. But the only thing I do in there is like martial arts and like do my little running lines and jumping jacks and stuff, and so they're kind of, I just kind of jump over the line of ants and stuff when I'm running lines. I just jump back and forth over it because they're kind of coming under the main garage door, and then just kind of a line going kind of along the side. I can avoid it easily, so I'm just like, whatever. But yeah, if they were like near my bed or on my bedstand or like on the sink or something like that, I definitely spray them. But my sinuses have been really sensitive to like sprays. I cleaned the bathroom, I think it was last week, like late last week, and I put a mask on, and that helped a lot, but it's still, you know, well, maybe it wasn't last week, maybe it was Sunday. I don't know what day it was. It was a few days ago. What day is it? Today is Wednesday, so it must have been like Monday or Sunday that I cleaned the bathroom. But today I'm just, I don't know. I'm gonna do a little bit of researching for job-related stuff. There was a method that I found where I'm gonna. Well, I've already started this yesterday, but like just contacting the websites and uploading my resumes on sites in different job categories, the specified resumes for those categories on these recruiters websites, and then on these job agency, like staffing agency websites. And one of them contacted me for the healthcare one. They were like, "Can you just send your resume?" So I was like, "Cool." And it was like an actual person. It wasn't like an automated message. And so I'm like, okay, at least I'm now kind of talking to a person, one person. I might just stop with the LinkedIn. I'd say, I don't know what percentage, but a very large percentage of the jobs that I even look at out on LinkedIn, when I go to the main company's websites, there's no job there. So I don't even think a lot of those jobs are accurate. And if they are, I'm not getting responses. All the jobs I've applied to, I've gotten one response back that said, "Sorry, like we're moving forward in another direction and you didn't make the cut," kind of thing. Not those words, but that was basically the message. And I tried to respond back to be like, like I always do, just like, "Thanks for your time," and like, "Is there any way you could tell me like what would have made my resume more competitive, or like what the candidates that you're considering, like what is the difference between their application and mine?" I'd like to know those things, because at least I can tell what companies in general are like, "Hey, you didn't do this," or like, "You need to have 6 years of this experience." And if I start getting like that kind of feedback, then it's like, then I kind of know what I'm kind of working towards. But no, it was an automated message, and then it was like a no reply thing. And I haven't heard back from any other ones. And I'm like, this, without the feedback or anything, I'm like, it really is like you're just like throwing, like I made a joke with a friend saying like, I'd probably be better off just like making paper airplanes out of my resume and like tossing them onto the highway and hoping that somebody finds them, that's a hiring manager. Like, that feels like a better method. Or using like, how people have like a missing pet and they're like missing, and like posting like posters all over the phone poles, or like the stop signs or whatever, so people can see them when they're walking past. I should just post my resume. Like, that would make more sense. At least people would see it. Like, I don't even know if it's going anywhere at this point. So I don't know. At a certain point, it's like, it would almost make more sense to just like go into companies and just drop off my resume. Because at least you'd have like a face-to-face experience. There's supposed to be some kind of a job related thing at my class on March 30th, but they're like, "Come to downtown LA and come to this thing," and I'm like, I think there's gonna be like employers there, and like, you can kind of schmooze with some people, but I'm like, I don't even know. It's not that I don't want to go to it, it's just, it might be a lot to get to it. I might not be able to get to it, honestly. But yeah, I don't really know. But I'm expecting, hopefully, for today to be the last day of this heavy flow situation, then I'll be able to kind of get back to doing more. But I mean, if it's not, it might not just like end like that today, but last time it was short, so I'm hoping this time it's short too. But it might not be short this time. I can't really predict. I'm just hoping. I'm just hopeful that maybe it'll be shorter and I won't have to deal with it for like 6-7 days, just like messed up with all this stuff. But I'm expecting, by the weekend to be feeling kind of better. It would be nice to kind of end week 16 with at least one more decent workout on Thursday, but I'm kind of not counting on it. And I don't know. I kind of just want today to be a creativity day. I know I need to work on some stuff, but I kind of would rather put the efforts into creative stuff. Kind of like free up some space in my mind. I just, I wouldn't say I haven't been feeling well. It's just like, I can tell, like, with the anemia and then the blood sugar levels and the freaking, like, all that kind of stuff, like, definitely plays a role when you've got these kind of conditions going on. Like, you gotta eat properly and hydrate properly and rest properly and, like, do everything pretty much on point. Otherwise, it's gonna become a noticeable issue that is felt. Like, I feel it. Like, this morning I was feeling kind of like weak, kind of like mindset just like irritated. Like, I was like, if anybody even talks to me, like I can just tell. I'm just like, I just need to just be as secluded as possible today. But I got through the cooking of breakfast and making of lunch during that cooking time. So I pretty much bought myself till pretty much 4 p.m. to not really have to interact with anybody. Which to me is ideal for today. I've got some friends I need to check in with, but I'm also kind of like exhausted and don't really want to. If that makes sense. I don't know. Like, that's just kind of how I feel today. Like, I feel like exhausted and not really wanting to check in with people. I'm kind of like, even if I know they're going through things, and it's not like, oh, I'm trying to punish them. I'm not like being like that. It's just like, I got my own stuff going on. And they're in my thoughts, but I'm also kind of like, I don't have any energy to give to them, and the energy I do have, I want to give towards applications and my own creative stuff. I don't really want to share that energy. Usually I do, but usually I kind of overextend, but I kind of don't feel like it right now, so I'm not going to. But I do kind of get like feeling like a jerk when I get like that. I'm kind of like, I feel like I should check in if they might be having a rough day, but I'm like, the rough day also isn't like directly related to me, and I can't do anything. It's not that I don't care. I hope that they wouldn't like assume that I don't care just because they don't hear from me, but also it's like, I've got stuff going on all the time, and there's plenty of time where people aren't checking in with me, so that's just kind of how it goes. Like, I've got to kind of do for myself sometimes too. So when the days get like this, I'm trying to just kind of do what I can where I can. It does kind of put things into perspective though, with like job opportunities, and I'm kind of like, it's just another thing I'm gonna have to deal with job opportunities. Like, they might be limited because of this. That's kind of the reality of it. But I mean, if I had remote work wouldn't be limited, but non-remote work, would be limited. Otherwise, if I was in an office, I'd need to be taking a break like every like hour or two. And I'm pretty sure most job sites, especially when you're new, they're gonna be like, what is up with that? Like, they're not gonna like that. So, yeah. Day 6, I don't really know if I'm gonna get up too much. If I feel better tonight, I might, but it's probably gonna be super hot this evening. It got down to like 64 last night, and it was actually cold. I've got the window open, the blinds closed, the fan has stayed on, so it's kind of chilly in here. And I'm gonna wait till it gets really hot in the afternoon to take my iron, because it kind of drops my temperature. I know it sounds stupid, but like that's kind of my little method. Is I'm like, okay, like this drops my temperature, so I'll take it. When I'm feeling too warm, you know. And then I keep chilled water bottles in the fridge, but yeah, I really don't think I'm gonna get up too much. We'll see, but I'm starting to kind of like a little bit combine episodes, just so I can kind of, you know, just streamline these posts a little bit, because it's hard for me to post. I have a hard time keeping up with posting. It. I like the recording part, but it's a chore to post. And yeah, I've been enjoying kind of slowing my life down, you know, with the internet challenge. You know, I'm not perfect with it every day. Like I did kind of go, you know, pretty like solidly over the weekend, like limited, and then not so much later on. But yeah, I've got some stuff I've gotta do, but yeah, I'm not feeling like horrible. I could be feeling better, but I'm not feeling like horrible. And then yeah, I'm pretty tired though, so I'm probably gonna nap in the hotter part of the day too. Pretty much from like 1 to 4, I'm gonna be useless. But it's okay. Like that's just kind of how it's gonna be. But all right. Well, I'll see if I tag day 7 on the end of this. But I just figure I'll fit days 5 and 6 into one.